All right, man. First of all, man, I want to thank you for pulling up on me, man.
Most definitely, most definitely. I had to pull up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the people who don't know, man, because we got some new subscribers, we got some people they don't know. If you own the page, bro, I believe your your videos really got me off into the algorithm. Like where the numbers really started doing something on Facebook and Instagram. Who we got the pleasure of talking to today, man?
And Tony Turner. Tony Turner.
All right, and I'm gonna ask some questions I didn't ask before. I just want to give
Okay.
people a little synopsis as to who you are and what you mean to the city or whatnot. Where you from, brother?
Yeah, I'm from College Park, but I spend most of my time on the west side.
All right. And then you also went to chain gang for a little bit.
Yeah, 33 years.
You know, before we get to that, let's go to how you got to chain gang, cause in a time where people don't know enough about the city and the origins of the city, your story, had a your movement had a large impact on Atlanta as we know it today, man. So I guess if we could talk about how what your I said it without talking your head off. What was you doing that got you sent to chain?
And I was out there selling drugs on the west side of the Ridge Court.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the Miami boys, they came to Atlanta trying to take over, you know, and one thing led to another, and I ended up catching two bodies, two murder charges.
Mm-hmm. And for those two bodies, how much time did they sentence you to?
Two consecutive lives.
Two consecutive life.
Yeah,
So you really ain't even supposed to be sitting here. You sound like a superhero or extremely blessed.
yeah, yeah. Like I told you last time, my mom, she paid her attorney and to get me out, and she passed away before she could see that her money had got me up out of prison.
Uh-huh.
Right.
33 years is a whole lot of time, brother.
Yeah, it is.
Um, where did you spend the most time at?
Hancock.
Hancock.
Yeah,
Hancock right now.
yeah, Hancock. Um, I did 9 years in Hancock. I did 7 years in Reedsville. So them two prisons there was, you know, where I spent the longest at. But
Okay.
I end up going to about 13 different prisons.
13. And so I would assume with 33 years, 13 prisons, you've seen your share of violence.
Yes, yes.
Um, Let me ask you this: did being in that environment turn you into a animal?
Let me say this.
Uh-huh.
When I look at what's going on in prison right now, I understand it to a degree. Because if you look at the prison stats on young guys with life sentences, when you come in prison with a life sentence, regardless of how you try to play it, it's an anger inside of you,
Yeah.
and it's fueled with rage.
Mm.
You know, so you be looking for something to get that rage up out of you on,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I was at the beginning. At the beginning of my time, I was hopeless, so I really didn't care what happened, what I got into. I just made up in my mind that I was gonna do time the way that I wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
it, and it don't take nothing. It don't take nothing, but like when I looked at your podcast on Washington State,
Okay.
and one of the guys was telling you that, bruh, you'll be surprised if I told you that it was over a little nothing. And guys with light sentences, young guys with light sentences, that's all it takes. That's all it takes for that rage to come up out of. You know, they be looking for something to release it on. And I'm not trying to justify what they're doing by no means, you know, but that's just how it is. You know, when you get in there, because now they giving out a lot of lives without
A lot.
And guys, them young guys ain't got nothing to lose.
So, what do you? So I have a number of questions, but okay. So 2 weeks ago, I went into Macon State Prison,
Right,
and we spoke to the lifers.
right,
But you know, I believe in having real dialogue. You see what I'm saying? And you know, I've been in high schools, I've been in juveniles. I done talked to people who got 10, but I'm talking to people that was locked up before, a couple of years before I got locked up. We did time at Alto. Then I've been home 20 years, and they still there.
right,
And then they pulling up on me like, man, we need some help.
right.
And I'm like, bro, I ain't even know what to say.
Yeah, you don't know where to begin. You know, because the way the system is designed, you know, they don't care. You know, and when I look at all those help, the human resource, the human what they call themselves,
What you talking about?
the coalition that call themselves trying to help prisoners. Yeah,
yeah.
All they doing is showing videos and trying to make money out, you know, the prison of misery. You know, because like back in the days when we started doing time, you had prison activists,
right,
and they were going before the legislature, Congress, trying to change laws, trying to really, really help.
Yeah.
But now it's just about lawsuits. You know, it's about money.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't about, it ain't about just really helping, you know, individuals.
Mm.
You know, everything is about money, man.
When you say that, it kind of hit me in the mouth, because if you really want to be a part of the solution, you got to dive a little deeper.
Right.
And I am one who I done talked to wardens, I done talked to police officers, all for the sake of trying to add solution. But you know what? It never dawned on me to go and get in front of these people and really try to do something.
Right.
But when you said, so that I know, see, you could say something and it'll mean something different from 5 other people saying it at the same time. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't fast talk, you don't do all that sideways, you get directly to it.
Right.
So, and it hit me in the mouth because I stopped feeding the hungry for that same reason.
Right.
Because we used to go downtown, we go on Trinity Avenue, and we feeding the hungry. But when we feeding the hungry, we got on T-shirts, and that's cool, but we got the camera out.
Right.
So that's like, Buck, I need $5, let me get $5. Like, shit, ain't no thing, bro.
Right.
And then as I'm reaching to give you money, I turn around, I'm like, yo, I'm just giving my people Tony T $5.
Right.
But that ain't no good work.
Nah.
So with that being said, bro, I'm gonna try to not be just a picture taker.
Right.
I'm gonna have to do my research. And you know, I was down at the Capitol, what's the day, Thursday?
Right.
Went down to the Capitol Tuesday. But I was just documenting. I seen the parents down, I seen the sisters. So I was just documenting, but I'm looking and I'm seeing what's going on, and I hadn't put, I was like, damn, something going on here. But when you just said that, I was like, damn, maybe all this chatter and document this, that shit cute, but then what we really doing?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, you just gave me a little something just then. What can be said to a generation that, or a population of people that got all day? Can you say anything to them?
It really depends. You know, you got to give them hope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the beginning. because they in a hopeless situation. So you got to find a way to give them hope, and you gotta show them ways that they can help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of guys, they caught up, gangs. They caught up in them gangs.
Yeah.
And unlike when we was coming up, we listened to the older guys. The young guys, they don't respect it. They do not care nothing about.
But why?
They don't want to be told. See, when we was in prison, like when I was in the county,
mm-hmm.
guys say when you get down the road, your older homeboy, they're gonna pull up on you. They're gonna pull your coat.
Yeah.
They're gonna show you the ropes.
Yeah.
Now guys coming to prison thinking they know everything. They don't want to hear nothing.
Yeah.
They ain't been in prison 30 days and they think they got all the answers. And they just this generation of people, I call it the me generation.
What you mean?
Because they feel entitled.
Okay.
And in that entitlement, they don't care nothing about nothing but self. You know what I'm saying? It's about what they want. Me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if the reason they don't listen anymore is because of how parents are raising the kids now.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we was coming up, we had to be home at a certain time.
Right.
We ate at the table as a family.
Yeah.
Ain't no eating in the bedrooms, none of that type of stuff.
Right.
Now, they coming home, they ain't got nothing to eat. You know what I'm saying? Their mama ain't fixed no dinner. They ain't got no chores. They ain't got no responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So they cussing in front of their parents. I ain't never cussed in front of my mom.
Right.
It's just they being raised different. And when you don't have respect, when you don't learn respect in the home, you ain't gonna respect nothing outside the home.
Period. So we essentially, okay, so I remember living on County Road, Zell's across the street. I used to live behind Nancy's in the duplexes. Life was we'll get on our bicycles, we'll ride out, we'll be gone all day. You know what I mean? Then the crack era hit and East Lake Meadows became a different kind of place. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, I have a parent who got addicted to the dope, and that caused me to live hotel to hotel, from the Red Roof Inn on County Road to the Lodge on Beaufort Highway. Right. But then that lifestyle, it determined how I father today.
Right.
So then, well, if we could get them Burgundy J's, well, we'll be on point.
Right.
But see, now Shawty got 6-7 pair of shoes. She don't care nothing about none of that.
Right.
So I'm saying all that to say that this generation is the way that it is. Did we fail them?
I want to say this.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at, us,
mm-hmm.
I'm look at you.
Mm-hmm.
Look how you living.
Mm-hmm.
Big home,
mm-hmm.
big backyard,
mm-hmm.
2-3-story house.
Mm-hmm.
No, we didn't fail. I went to prison for 33 years. I ain't had no kids to fail.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a child, it would have made a difference in my life. Because a lot of things I did, I wouldn't have done.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I always had that love in my heart for my family.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a lot of guys that did fail their family.
Uh-huh.
A lot of us. But I'm not gonna say that ain't got nothing to do with respect.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, it all starts at the home. But, these kids now, when I was in prison, I used to sit back and, see them YNs
Mm-hmm.
come in thinking they know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And violence is the only thing that they respect. Cause like nowadays, I seen one of your podcasts when guys say, "Hey, they don't do no ones no more."
Right.
And when they do give a one, it's to a sucker. It's to a guy that they know they can whoop.
Right.
But they feel threatened. They ain't gonna get no one. But when I look at the game, I put a lot of weight on the big homies.
Okay.
And the OGs, you know what I'm saying? Because, like in prison, like old boy said in one of your podcasts, a lot of big homies and OGs are kids, but a lot of them not.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of them in prisons are, but the streets still call them a lot of shots.
Okay.
So, I put a lot of weight on them, because a lot of things they could stop. Like what's going on now, the streets can stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of them guys ain't stuck. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them guys, see, what a lot of people think of, well, all gang members, they ain't going home. They just in prison stuck, just doing.
No, that ain't true.
No, a lot of them going home.
Right.
When they go home, they're gonna have to answer to their big homies and their OGs.
Right.
When I told you to do this, they're gonna get dubbed out. But that's just like in prison, them same big homies and OGs. What the prison system do is make them bear the responsibility. If you want to lead, we're gonna start with you. We're gonna make an example out of you. Because for them guys to do this and that, it had to be your call.
Oh.
It starts with you.
Right.
So when we start making examples, we're gonna start with y'all. And then what they're gonna start doing, they're gonna start falling back. Because a lot of them big homies and OGs in the prison, they don't want to be on lockdown.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They want to be out calling shots.
Right.
So they gonna start saying, "Hey man, stand down, because them folks gonna come at me first."
What about when there has been bloodshed?
Still, go at them. See, like the street, the prison got gang task force.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they know who the big homies is.
Yeah.
They know who calling shots.
Yeah.
Start with them.
But then wouldn't that just cause a shift in the rankings?
It will. But see, what they did, look how they did the GFs, the good fella.
Then they lock all them down?
They locked them down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They locked them down. And it really did away with the GFs in the prison system for a long time.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And while they was on lockdown, it humbled them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys coming in prison, oh man, they ain't trying to be GFs because they hearing what's going on.
Yeah.
They locking them straight down.
But do the numbers play a factor in that? Because from my understanding, the Bloods, they got a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
Can you lock all them down like you did GL?
You can, You can, because one thing the prison system gonna have to do, they're gonna have to change. You know, like a lot of states, they got them segregated. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to do some massive transfer. You know, they got the bodies to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Lock them down.
Do you think it would be effective if let's say you just make TFL a GD camp, and made another count like a blood count?
See, the Bloods, if you don't lock them down, they're gonna be warring among themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know they got different sets. You know, they got different sets, and at some point they're gonna bump head. You know, but you know a lot of states now, what they do is let's say California.
Mm-hmm.
When they lock them down, they got like a step down program. You know, and at the end of the step down, you gotta disclaim your game. You gotta get out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You know, and a lot of guys, you know, a lot of guys in California, you know, they went along with it, and some of them booked, and they still on lockdown.
Mm.
You know, but man, let me tell you, I understand that a lot of problems in prisons is dealing with staffing problems.
Right.
You know, and you know, I'm not gonna totally blame the prison system. You know, don't nobody want to work in prison right now.
But it ain't always been that way. I remember looking up the hill and seeing when it was shift change, man, it was like a little baby arm up there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't nothing. They said reinforcement was coming. Reinforcement was on the way.
Right. But you just gotta you know, when I look at prison, you gotta look at from this point. You know, is going in here 12 hours a day trying to stop these guys from killing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth my life and this little money?
Can't
you know, and you know, a lot of people gonna say, hell nah.
Right.
You know, I don't blame them.
So why isn't I ain't gonna say upper management, but the powers that be who do the hiring and the training, why they ain't tightening up on their backstroke? It just seems like if you really wanted somebody to fulfill these positions, you could get this done.
Yeah. See, they're gonna have to be made. They're gonna have to be made, you know, to do their job. You know, there's them taking it upon themselves and making those changes. They ain't gonna do it. You know, I don't. You know, right now, you know, from the outside looking in, you know, it's gonna take a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they don't care nothing about bodies. You know, they don't care nothing about, you know, blacks killing blacks and blacks killing Mexicans and blacks killing whites.
Right.
You know, they don't care nothing about that. They say this prison is gonna happen. You know, but when they start getting that pressure, you know, from top, you know, from the congressman, from
they had the attorney general. That ain't it.
That ain't it. Because, you know, he see what's going on. All he doing is saying, well, I got to go in here and see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I got to make my face sing.
Yeah.
But he ain't trying to make no damn changes.
They ain't did nothing.
No.
They said this is not good. It's not a good place. Yeah. It's inhumane. There's a list of violations. Shit, that was over a year and a half ago, and they still ain't did nothing.
Right. You know, like Reedsville used to be one of the most violent prisons in the state of Georgia, in the United States, really.
What time factor are we talking about?
We talking about 70s, the 80s, and what had to be done in Reedville, it was a big law. It's called the Guthrie suit. And when the Guthrie suit was filed, the feds had to come in and take over Reedsville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The feds took over Reedsville?
Yeah. Because like when I went to Reedsville, visiting days was every day but Wednesday. Yeah. You know,
Huh?
yeah.
I thought visitation was just Saturday and Sunday and holiday.
Every day but Wednesday. You know, they was under like when I was in Reedville, you color shirts, color pajamas, you could get Jordans, all everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was on federal. It was like I said, the Guthrie suit, which allowed inmates to have everything that the feds have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now, do you think, because you was at Reedsville when it wasn't under federal supervision, and then you was there while it was?
No, I wasn't there when it wasn't under.
Okay.
When I got there, it was under.
It was under.
Yeah.
And besides the wardrobe and the colored pajamas, what were some of the other differences?
Packages. Because you can damn near get everything. Big fans, big radios.
Yeah.
You couldn't get no TVs in there.
Right.
But then back then everybody had one man cell. You had your own room.
Yeah.
You carpet in your room. You can get it. Yeah.
Carpet.
You can send home for carpet, as long as it's fire resistant.
Did this reduce some of the violence?
Yeah, definitely.
So now, do you think that the feds need to come in on this situation, or
the feds can come in, but it's still like it's a different generation. It's a different mindset. Because when I look at Reedville back then, it wasn't no gangs.
Okay.
So it's a different mindset. But honestly, like I when me and you was talking, I was saying that that a lot of in prison now, and don't get me wrong, I did 33 years. I just being on lockdown, sometimes it's inhumane. But they have to get control of it. I don't want to just say out my mouth, lock them guys down.
Yeah.
But that's the only answer right now.
Here's the thing. I talked to a brother last night who's at Washington.
Yeah.
And then I talked to another dude off air. He didn't want his voice on or nothing like that. But they're like, bro, just because you lock us down, I mean we can't get in and out this cell.
Right.
We coming and going as we please.
Right.
That threw me off. So then I started thinking about, okay, so Reedville was taken over by the feds at a time where there was not such a gang infestation. The cell phones was not a factor.
Right.
The drones was not a factor. That means that the drugs was then you had a manageable population.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So if the feds come in, what would their challenge? And I don't know how the feds move though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As far as the feds, they dealing with the gangs too.
Right.
So when they come in, they know how to deal.
Yeah.
Believe me, they know how to deal with. And as far as what the brother was saying about they can lock us down, we know how to get out of lockdown. Yeah, don't know how to get out of lockdown in Jackson.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they can secure them down door
if they wanted to.
Yeah, they can secure them doors where you can't get out of.
So then, do you think that we're just seeing the equation of a intricate plot. Like, okay, so in order for the next move to come in place, we got to create this degree of chaos. When I say that, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're like, okay, Bill, once we show you that it's effed up, then this gonna come. I feel like we in the process of seeing something play out. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so Bim, this is y'all seen this. We gave you a taste of this. So now here go the new stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, you know, anytime that the thing that a lot of people, it's gonna be a lot of stuff that happen in prison. You know, because anytime that you don't have control of, you know, a prison, you ain't got control of a prison, you know, everything gonna happen.
Right.
So, you know, like you said, the next phase coming. It's coming. You know, and you remember when they took over Waycross, when they was setting the fires.
Oh, they had a riot down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, prisoners can take over prison anytime they want to.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just only a matter of time.
Have you ever been at an institution and it popped off where it was a riot?
Nah. I don't been in, you know, like, well, you don't been to Alto, but, you know, when the cities were fighting. You know, so, you know, you could say it felt like a riot, you know, because it's the numbers, you know, because you're looking at hundreds.
Yeah.
You know, so, but just tearing up shit, burning shit, nah.
Yeah. I ain't never been. I looked at a video the other day. It wasn't in Georgia. I think it was in Tennessee. These folks in the closed dorm, they call themselves setting a trash can on fire. But y'all ain't got no ventilation. The police had to come in there and say to these people, man, these folks ain't thought paying that. I'm talking about smoke filled that dorm up so fast, man. These folks got to go out on the stretcher, man.
Yeah.
That mentality is different. Let me ask you this. So you did how much time at Reedsville?
7.
You did 7 at Reedsville. And what were some of the most violent acts you either witnessed or had to participate in?
Just stabbing. You know, it's, you know, everywhere you go, there's gonna be some stabbing.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you something that a lot of people really don't understand about that. It's like guys in prison, they want to stab, but they don't want to get stabbed. And guys in prison, they think, a lot of them think in their head that a nigga who got hands can't do nothing with me because I got this knife.
Yeah.
That ain't
true.
Hell no. That ain't true. That ain't true. That's a long way from being true.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you trying to hit a motherfucker with a knife. If that bitch ain't a razor,
yeah,
you know, you only really got 2 motions.
Yeah.
And up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you don't know how to use that bit properly, a nigga will beat your motherfucking ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, but if a nigga that knows how to fight with a knife,
yeah,
you know, goddamn, you're gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But a lot of young guys, they just really think. See, a lot of guys are just scared to get hit. You know what I'm saying? And they can fight. They just scared to get hit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you ain't scared to get hit and you know how to fight, you can beat a nigga with a knife quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that it will ever be peace amongst the different organizations? Is that even plausible? Is that?
Nah.
Ain't happening.
Because you know, you got this young generation where they always talking about slime. See, sliming a nigga out is cool. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's what they into. this
Hey, you know what, bro? The crazy part is my brother came home from the feds
right.
and he kept screaming that slime life shouter shit.
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm like, man, little bro home from the fed. I gave him a truck. The room upstairs, that same room that we do the videos in.
Yeah.
But he started doing stuff, be around somebody. I'm chain gang to death, but I'm in the house with him. But I'm just like, I got people I've been locked up.
Yeah.
Look, A-Town come over here. I can leave A-Town here.
Right.
I can leave.
Right.
And I know everything good.
Right.
It might be better when I get back. But when I was here with my blood, bro,
right.
I was like, this shit don't feel right, bro.
Right.
Come to find out, man, this man in here trying to make check. This man got my old AT&T bill, got a copy of my social security card, and my driver. Like, he got a birth certificate with my mama's name on it. I said, man, you got to go, man.
Yeah.
You got to go. Then when I put him out, bro, probably about a month later, seen him on the news. He done robbed the massage parlor. You still on federal parole. But he was screaming that slime. I was like, bro, what's going on? Like, I couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand it, man.
See, all that's cool now. They love it.
I hear it.
And they don't care who they slime out.
They don't. I was at the juvenile. They say if we ride and we finna slide on somebody and your pistol ain't been shot.
Yeah.
Oh, they snaking you out.
Yeah.
That's what type of timing they on, man.
Yeah.
Where they get this mindset from though?
I can't even tell you. I couldn't even begin to tell you that. But I just know that's what they into. I guess it's self-preservation. They don't care about nothing but self. That's why I still call them the me generation.
The me generation. When did you start seeing things change? Because you got locked up in the early 90s. That means you seen that old well things. You seen
the
it.
Late 80s.
Oh, late 80s.
Yeah.
Damn. Late 80s. Man, you seen everything. You seen that thing do.
Yeah.
What was, not from a fear perspective, but what was the most alarming thing that you began to see in chain gang? You was like, okay, this shit about to get different.
It's just, when I first started seeing the game, it was just little young guys just saying, I'm Crip, I'm GD, but they all was cool with each other.
Okay, yeah.
They just, it wasn't they weren't banging on each other, But as I seen the numbers start increasing, and I just started seeing the change, man. I just, when I started